Satnam Aloha. So today I want to talk about a major transit we're in, and you may have felt this yourself. This week I've been exhausted. I'm a projector, little force energy. I just thought it was the retreat, the online retreat that just finished up, the intense part on Sunday night. And I thought, well, I'm just tired because of the integration process. And no, it just felt different, right? Something felt different. And so I looked at the transits, of course, and here's what's going on. So you may feel that yourself, you're tired. So what's happening is one door is closed, right? The timeline is closed. The karmic timeline has closed, right? So the door is closed. You've been pushed out into the hallway, but the other door hasn't opened yet. So you're still in the hallway. So this can feel very disorienting, right? Very disorienting. It's your perception of time and space can be off. You're just feeling not quite right, not quite grounded. Well, that door hasn't opened yet. And that's what this Saturn in 29 degrees Pisces is about. Okay, so here's what we're going to go over. Saturn is activating the 25th gate. So we're going to do the Pisces version and the Aries version of the 25th gate. We'll go over the father wound, the Phoenix fractal reading, the twin flame message, and then the human design type messages. Okay, and then some reflection questions that you can ask yourself this weekend. Okay, so let's start off with Saturn. So you can see here Saturn is in the 25. Venus is still activating the 51. That was my last video. It was about the Venus activating 51. So there we are, it's 25, right? And that's Saturn here. And so in terms of the zodiac, right? The zodiac, it takes Saturn 30 years to go through every zodiac sign. So it's about 2.5 years per sign. And then it takes 30 years for it to go around the mandala. So all of these gates, it takes 30 years. So basically this is telling us that this is the end of a 30-year karmic cycle. So think back of 30 years ago. What was going on for you? Well, you've been in some kind of cycle and it's coming to an end. Pisces is the very end. 29 degrees is a critical degree. Right? So it's been in the 29th degree Pisces since May 13th. And then that ends on the 24th, and that's today. In about 5 hours or so, it's going to turn into 0 degrees Aries, right? So Saturn's been in the 25. So there's particular gates in human design that hold both energies. They're like a cusp gate. So they hold this one in particular, gate 25, holds the energy of Aries and the energy of Pisces. So once the flavor of Pisces turns into the flavor of Aries, it's going to be quite, different energy. And it's an outermost planet, so it affects us all, especially Saturn. Okay, so gate 25 in Pisces. So this brings mystical, surrendered compassion, right? And gate 25 is the gate of spirit. It's the universal love gate. So with Pisces here, it can incline towards the dissolution of identity. So ego, identity dissolving. And boundaries, right? Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So it seeks union with the divine, gate 25, but it may, in the meantime, how it can manifest on the mundane level is feeling emotionally overwhelmed, feeling like you're a victim, right? You're a victim, or you're fixated on becoming the savior, the fixer. So that kind of energy too can come, it's about love, right? So what is love? Love means that somebody comes and saves me, or love means that I go and save somebody else. So Saturn here in this placement really challenged the soul to embody spiritual maturity without collapsing into fantasy, escapism, addictions, or emotional dependency on others. So we've been learning that since Saturn's been in Pisces. So Pisces 25 says, merge with the divine through surrender to feel everything and forgive all, right? So the shadow of this is, and this relates to Saturn moving into Aries, is people can conflate surrender with passivity, right? I'm just a jellyfish in the ocean and I'm just letting the currents, riding the currents. That's not surrender, that's passivity, and that's giving your power over to external forces. That's not surrender, right? Surrender is when you surrender to the divine within you. And when you do that, it means sometimes that you have to take action, right? So this is what we're turning into. We're going to flip into 0 degrees Aries, so we're going to really feel this shift, right? So let's look at Saturn when it's in 0 degree Aries. Now it's going to be in Aries from May 24th, right, until September 2025. So we're going to have a taste of it for 4 months, right? June, July, August, September. Yeah, 4 months. And then it slips back into Pisces. Make sure that you got your lessons, right? And that's October, November, December, January, February for 5 months. And then it's back into Aries. It's not just back into 0 degrees Aries. Neptune is there too at 0 degrees Aries. And these two are making a conjunction. And this is major. Aries is, right, the first. It's beginning, it's pioneering energy with Neptune. So I'll do another video on that, but that's a big astrological event, and that's February 2026. Okay, let's go back to Saturn and Aries though. So this sharpens the energy, right? Pisces is watery, right? It's watery, it's compassion, it seeks to the lowest, and Aries is fire, right? It's passion. So this is radical individuality, it's fierce authenticity, it's action, it's manifesting, but it's still universal love, right? Within the 25th gate. But now it's expressing itself through assertion, action, courage, right? Pisces was very internal. This is external. So the challenge is no longer to dissolve the ego, like the Saturn and Pisces in the 25, but it's to align your will with the will of the divine, right? So that's the big challenge with Saturn and Aries. And of course, Saturn's going to slap you hard down on the ground if you're aligning your will with the ego, right? That's not the way to do life and navigate life right now. It's to surrender your will to the divine will. Also, Saturn and Aries will want you to express sacred boundaries. This is where love becomes a sword, right? Love with Saturn and Pisces was very healing. It was about healing. And now love is a sword, right? And this is a drive to protect the innocent. We're probably going to see that more out in the world, in the collective, to act on the behalf of truth and to stand alone if needed. So Saturn and Aries test your ability to act from the heart, not the ego, and act from your soul and not the ego. So Saturn and Aries asks, can you take aligned action in the world without losing your connection to spirit? Right? So Saturn's shift is really going from compassion to courage. And in Pisces, Saturn taught surrender to the divine, trust, and then transcend. And now in Aries, Saturn demands, not teaching, demanding you to lead, act, and embody. Right? And that's what Satnam is. Your Satnam, the truth, your authenticity. You're going to act from that truth within you. So they're both inviting you into the same heart gate. It's because it's a heart gate of the 25, universal love. But the path is transforming from dissolution of ego to activation. And this is the age of Aquarius that I've talked about before, that the language of love is action, It's walking the talk, right? All your actions. So that'll be interesting what comes up. So what stops, right? So what stops? And I'm really feeling that with the fractal, the divine feminines, because you've been getting so many messages about it's time to leave these karmic loops, karmic situations, karmic relationships, and make the leap, right? So what's stopping this? Well, I want to talk about, I picked some cards. So I'm going to do another tarot Phoenix fractal line reading. So this doesn't really count. This was me asking, you know, when I do these videos, of course, I receive inspiration. I start getting mass messages and downloads before I even get up in the morning. In this one, there was just so much. There was so much that, you know, so often I'll pick cards, like, you know, show me direction. And remember, these cards, they're not powerful in themselves. Like, the power is within me, my own divinity. And then the cards are just a mirror of that, right? That consciousness. So the mirror helps just for some clarity where to look, right? So the question that I put out, and I just don't want to just go on the transits because it's general. I'm serving not a general audience. I'm serving my fractal, right? The Phoenix fractal. That's you guys that are watching, you divine feminines. So the question that I asked is, what's the subconscious block for my fractal in terms of making the leap and moving forward in their life? Like, what's really stopping them? Let's get to the root, right? And look what we got there. We got embarrass, the word embarrass, and then the word embarrass, right? And then the figure playing a guitar and singing, and then we got father. We got father, and then a child going down the slide and looking to another figure on the swing here. And this was really clear when these cards were picked. So embarrass is another word for shame, right? So this right here is the father wound, and that's what's stopping you, divine feminines. So it's interesting that I talked about the Neptune and Saturn conjunction, right? So the last Saturn-Neptune conjunction, so this is a big one happening in 2026, but the last one was in the 80s and 90s, and that's the Pluto and Scorpio generation, and that's the Phoenix fractal line, the women who are born with Pluto and Scorpio, or a lot of stellium in Scorpio, or stellium in the 8th house, or even Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, right? So Neptune conjunct Saturn, both of them in Capricorn. And what does that mean? It means the father's MIA, right? That transit shows that. So this makes a lot of sense, right? So if we look at this father wound, because the father, the correct energetic purpose of the father's aura protects the aura of the family, right? And it doesn't mean he's doing anything. No, it means he's present. He's present within himself, and he could just be sitting around watching TV or whatever, but he's present, and that's what protects the aura. He's the family aura, the protector of the family aura is the father's aura, and this is the mother feels safe. She feels safe in the father's aura, so she relaxes, and her aura protects the children, right? The children. So that's how it works. So this has been missing for my Pluto and my Phoenix fractal line women, right, is this father. So what happens, and you can look at it like she's going down the slide, right, and she's looking over there, there's dad, right? Dad's gone. Maybe dad has started a whole new family. Maybe dad is with his girlfriend. Maybe dad moved to another state, another country. He's got something else going on, and there you are. You're all alone. Going down the slide and there's nobody there for you. Nobody there to catch you. Nobody there to say, you can do it. Nobody there to teach you to go back up the slide, right? Nobody there to really help you navigate through time and space. And that's what the Father helps, gives you that confidence, right? To move forward. So of course the Phoenix Fractal is going to be challenged to moving forward and making the leap. Because, you know, if my Father wasn't there, that means the divine won't be there for me either. I got to do everything on my own. And then the shame, this is about expressing your creativity, but it's about expressing your needs, right? Your needs. So this is like, I have a lot of shame for having any kind of emotional needs. So what happens, because the universe doesn't like a vacuum and you want resolution, like, where's my Father? Where's my Father? That's a deep question in your subconscious mind. So you end up seeking and going out and seeking these weak masculines, and that's your karmic relationships that you get into, because you're looking for this. You're looking for that father that you never got as a child, like a true father. Okay, but let's go into some points here, back here. So you end up in a trauma bond, right? And you call this love. You've been conditioned to call this love. So it's a popular psychological term that we see a lot, but I want to approach it from my perspective, okay? So what's the pattern? So the pattern could be you bond with somebody who withholds affection, belittles you or ignores you, neglects you, and your inner child recognizes this pain. And what is it to the inner child? This feels like home. This is familiar to me. And then your soul believes it can redeem the pain, resolve the pain by finally being seen and loved by the one who rejected you. So this is the subconscious vow disguised as love. It's a subconscious vow within you, but it's disguised as love. If I can heal this person, I will finally be safe. Right? So this is the karmic loop that you end up playing over and over and over and again in your life. And it's not just from this lifetime, right? This goes back to your past life as a Cathar, a mystic, or a priestess. And this is you were punished or betrayed for sacred love. So you may have taken a vow. I will never speak, trust, or love like this again. I'll never, ever give myself fully over again. Right? So that's the past life. But let's go back like to the early childhood, because that's where you're going to get the most opportunity to heal this and move forward, right? Because Saturn is in Aries and you want to be ready for a whole new 30-year cycle that's rooted not in trauma, but in truth, in the truth of who you are. You want to get out of this loop, right? So you were emotionally abandoned, unseen, unheard, or made to feel like you're too much, you're too needy, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, right? So your body learned that love is the same as longing for it, never receiving it, just longing for it, fantasizing about it, and then proving it, right? You got to earn that love. So in your adult relationships, you choose partners who mirror both your past life pain from the Cathars. They come back, right, from your, and watch that Cathar video that I did a while back now to learn about how this dynamic works, why you keep attracting these types of people, because they come from your past life as a Cathar. Right, so they're going to mirror your past life pain and your present childhood wound. So it's really a soul test. And the soul test is, can you choose yourself this time? Can you choose yourself in this lifetime? Can you put yourself first in this lifetime? Right? So when a karmic partner that you've attracted in repeats the energetic signature, right? It's not just wounding. It's a ritual reenactment of a spiritual trauma. This is a spiritual trauma that you need to move out of it, and it takes making a new choice. And Saturn and Aries is helping you with this. It's time to make a new choice. It's time to choose you first, right? Trying to put yourself first. Not like your mother and your grandmother and your great-grandmother. You want to step out of this programming. Okay. And, okay. The other thing I want to say too, which is coming to me now, is another thing you've got to do, because this trauma bonding is coming from your ancestors as well as your past life, right? Your past life trauma is your ancestors, just because I just talked about your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your mother, and so on, all down the line. There's another trap that you can get into, and this is like over-identification with your family of origin. You have to remember that you're an infinite soul that doesn't have a family, that doesn't have a cultural background, that doesn't, that's not rooted in this ancestral lineage. I talked about this before. You're an alchemist. So you've come here, you've incarnated, and you've chosen to incarnate in a specific ancestral line because it matches with your own karma that you're working through as a soul to evolve. So you have detachment, right? You have some detachment that other members of your family do not. So it's to detach from that, and it's like, I'm not part of this family of origin that I've been seduced, and I'm attached, and now I think I'm a daughter, I think I'm a sister, I think I'm an aunt, I even think that I'm a mother, right? But you've got to detach and remember your original self that's much older than this ancestral line, right? That you've taken on. Because that in itself too is keeping you in this trauma bonding, and that's with your family of origin, this family of origin. It's not who you are. It's time to step away from that system. That's a system that's keeping you trapped and looped as well, right? Okay. That's all I want to say about that for now. Okay, so let's keep moving here, and we'll talk about this father wound, right? So here's how it plays out, because Saturn represents the father in the natal chart, right? And it's in 29 degrees Pisces. It's time to end something. And to me, it's to end this father wound so that you can really step into your power, divine feminine. So the absent father, we talked about the transit, that the 80s and 90s, so Pluto and Scorpio generation went through en masse, so a lot of you. The absent father is equivalent to the absent divine. Divine's not going to be there for me because my father wasn't there for me. If my father left, then the divine will leave too, right? At least this karmic's still around, right? The karmic's still around. So you stick to what you know, right? And this is the spiritualized trauma bond. It's a spiritualized trauma bond. So what it's saying, this trauma bond here, is I'll settle for what hurts. At least I won't be alone, right? I'll survive. So this weekend, Saturn is saying, stop settling for what stays. Stop settling for what stays and sticks around you, because what's staying is spiritually starving you. It's spiritually starving you. And then the clever child is really the people-pleasing partner. Right? So this is how this gets transferred into your adulthood. Well, if I'm clever, right, and I'm witty, and I'm gifted, and I'm needed, maybe he won't leave me. Maybe he won't. This is the people-pleasing partner. Maybe if I keep him I'll keep him interested by being clever and witty and learning all these things that I'm not really interested in. He won't leave me. If I'm real, if I'm authentic, if I'm myself, I'll be rejected. Right? If I'm not useful, I'll be abandoned. So this comes from your childhood. So there's a shame around needs that those cards alluded to, right? The embarrassment. Here's some questions to ask yourself. Are you embarrassed to have emotional needs? Right? Do you feel ashamed for needing love, needing affection, needing attention, maybe needing a little romance in your life. Do you feel ashamed for that? Even asking for that, right? That somebody like get you a nice birthday present or bring you flowers or something like that, right? Like just little things. Are you ashamed of needing that kind of love, affection, and attention? Do you silence your truth to avoid rocking the karmic boat? Right? Do you hold back? Do you abandon yourself first so no one else has to? Right? You'll abandon yourself first. So silencing your needs, right, to someone who doesn't see you, right? You're silencing your needs to keep someone who doesn't see you. That's the wound that you're breaking now. And this is why the leap can feel unsafe, right? So the karmic loop here is, here's the strategy, right, with the karmic loop. The child strategy and adult love, the father wound. Well, if you're ignored or emotionally neglected by your father, right, you're ignored or emotionally neglected by your father, you're shamed for expressing your true needs or emotions, you're made to feel that you're too much, you're too needy, you're too intense, or you're not enough, right? So you often developed a survival-based identity, and this is your not self. That's your not self. And basically what you're telling yourself as a child, if I play a role, if I achieve, if I overgive, if I put everybody else's needs ahead of my own, if I stay quiet, if I stay the good girl, maybe I'll be loved. And this identity becomes your love blueprint. This is your not self. It's your ghost self. It's an illusion. And that blueprint attracts the karmic partner in. Someone who feels familiar. Not because they're your soulmate. It's because they match the frequency of your wound. Right? That's why they're there. They're matching the frequency of your wound. So this is the trauma bond, where you're trying to finally earn the love that you never received from your father. So I'll get you to do some questions and you can determine that. Right? So then let's look at real unconditional love for you. Well, it's dangerous if you have this father wound. Real unconditional love is dangerous. So you meet real love, right? What's real love? It's present. It's emotionally connected to you. It notices you. It's unconditionally accepting of you. It's spiritually clean. It's not hooky, right? The karmic is hooky. It wants to be put up on a pedestal. He wants to be put up on a pedestal. He wants you dimming your light. He wants you to tell him how great he is. He doesn't want you to confront him with his shadow. Real love is spiritually clean, right? It welcomes all of that, right? So why does it feel unsafe to your nervous system, right? Why does real love feel unsafe to your nervous system? Because this love asks you to be your authentic self, right? Real love asks you to be your authentic self. It doesn't want you playing a role. It wants you just to be you. And what is this authentic self? This is the very self that was rejected by your father, right? That's why it's so dangerous, because it goes to the original wound, right? Your authentic self was rejected by your father. So your subconscious says now, when I was open-hearted, when I was soft, when I was creative, when I was feminine, when I was vulnerable, I was punished. I was ignored, or I felt ashamed by being me, right? So of course that gets rejected. So if you look at the real unconditional love, your real twin flame or your divine counterpart, right? The healthy divine masculine becomes the mirror of the very first heartbreak. He becomes the mirror of your very first heartbreak. Not because he's harming you or trying to abuse you or whatever. He's doing it on purpose. No, because he's reflecting the original pain that you never healed, right? So that's why it's so powerful to meet your twin flame, because they reflect that original pain that you never healed. the original pain, not mirroring the wounding, right, of the not self. That's the karmic twin. And then, so the true twin is the mirror of your first wound. Your divine counterpart is the mirror of your first wound. So the true twin reflects the wound of the original rejection, right? When I showed my heart to my father, when I showed the real me, it wasn't enough, and he left. He abandoned me. So this is why many women run from real love. They become numb or they freeze when the real masculine love shows up in their life, because it activates their inner child before it activates the adult woman. Your inner child gets activated first. It forces her to confront the lie that she must be someone else to be loved. That's what the karmic wants, right? So you got to confront that lie. I have to, if I'm really myself, I won't be loved, right? I have to be somebody else. And you think that's what love is. It threatens the identity that you built for survival that is false. You're not self. So healing begins, Divine Feminine, when you see the karmic as the mirror, not the source of your pain, that he's doing these things and it's causing me pain. No, he's a mirror. He's mirroring a wound back to you, right? And the karmic is not your father. He's the reflection of the unresolved pain of not loving yourself and abandoning yourself, right? That's the karmic. And your true twin is not the rescuer. He's not here to come and rescue you and be the white knight. He's the mirror of the part of you that you rejected a long time ago. He's mirroring a part of you that you rejected a long time ago. So you either run from that reflection or you see it and you heal it and you bring it back, this part of you that you rejected. And this is your authentic self. You see the difference here? Okay. So for healing, right? So for healing here, when you realize, so healing starts with awareness. And awareness is bringing a light onto that shadowy area within your psyche. And then you can start to make different choices. Right now, a lot of the Divine Feminines, it's their inner child. They're the little inner girl that's looking for her father. She's the one doing the choosing, right? So of course she's not going to choose a divine counterpart. She's going to choose what she knows, and that's that karmic cycle. So for healing is when you realize, bring awareness to, that you can grieve what the child never received. So you grieve what the child never received. And a lot of our grieving is not what was done to us, what wasn't done to us, what we didn't receive. And the child needs to grieve this, which is just sitting and being with yourself, being in your heart and crying, letting those emotions move. And there's no healing without the crying and the grieving. So you can release the karmic, and then you can release the karmic without resentment, because he was the teacher of what you don't want anymore, right? He mirrored you the pain, that pain of what you thought love was, right? And now you don't need that anymore. He already gave you that. Now it's time to take your power and go. And you can finally receive the true masculine, not through fantasizing about it, but by living as your authentic self. Then you receive the divine masculine. So the one that you're chasing is not your twin. If you're chasing and trying to prove yourself to this person, they're your karmic, they're not your twin. It's a false karmic. He's your father in disguise. And until you let that little girl know that she's already worthy, right? That she's already worthy, she's already lovable, right? She's already has self-worth, right? That she's fine, like it's okay for her to show her authentic self, basically. Right? You'll keep calling in men who make you prove that you're worthy of love, right? You'll keep this cycle going, of keeping this inner child not worthy of love, right? So you'll keep calling in men who demand that you be your not self, right? Okay, so some questions to ask yourself here for healing the father wound. Okay, so if you're on your phone, just take a screen grab of this. Okay, and then reflect on this weekend. So when you first expressed your needs as a child, if you can remember, what happened? Were you met with love, silence, criticism, or abandonment, or shame? And what did you learn about you, who you had to be in order to feel loved? How did you change yourself to survive emotional neglect? Did you become the people pleaser, right? The fixer, the achiever, the caretaker, the quiet one, the invisible one that had no needs? And what part of you did you silence to keep the peace? Number 3, what does your karmic partner reflect back to you? This is a good one. Not who he is, but who you become in his presence. Who do you become in the presence of your karmic partner? What emotional memory or wound is your karmic partner recreating? And what are you trying to finally fix? What are you trying to finally fix through him, but it was never yours to fix? That's a good question to ask yourself. And then number 4, what does real love feel like in your body? Right? Just close your eyes. What does real love feel like in my body? And do I trust it? When you imagine being loved by someone without having to play a role, right? Just being yourself. Do you feel peace or panic? Do you trust love that sees you when you're not earning it? That you're loved just for being? Do you trust that? What comes up in your body? Number 5, are you afraid to be your authentic self because you still believe that you'll be rejected? And where are you hiding the most vulnerable parts of yourself? And do you think all of you, showing all of you, is too much for other people? Right? That you won't be loved. You're just too much. You're too needy. You're too emotional. You're too sensitive. Right? And number 6, if you stop playing a role, who would stay? If you stop playing this role, who would stay? Who would stay in your life? Who are you afraid you'll lose if you stop overgiving, putting everybody else's needs before your own? If you stop fixing, if you stop proving, if you stop earning, if you stop holding it all together for everyone, right? Who would stay? If you no longer need it, you're karmic. Here we go. If you no longer need it, you're karmic, right? You didn't have to rely on your karmic for financial, material support, right? If you didn't need them for emotional support, the little crumbs that you do receive, this is all your father in disguise. If you no longer needed your karmic to see you, what kind of love would you allow in? What would shift in how you speak and how you trust and receive? What kind of love would you want? What kind of partner would you want to bring in if you no longer needed your karmic? What kind of man would feel safe to you then? Right? Ask yourself these questions this weekend. Right? So now we know, right? This is why women stay with karmic men who belittle, devalue, and neglect you. Why you reject true love, right? Because it feels way too unfamiliar. It feels too vulnerable for you. You're not used to it. And why your nervous system distrusts joy and pleasure. Real love can feel like death to the trauma-bonded identity. That's the not-self that was created in childhood. But because of it, it's the death of who you had to become to survive, right? It's the death, this not-self has to go, right? The you that you had to become in order to just survive. Remember that love for the child is currency. The child needs love to survive. So this weekend, right, it's not about rushing into something new. It's about reflecting And it's about blessing the version of you who thought this was love. Right? The version of you that thought this was love, this karmic was love. You want to let this version of you go that's tied to the karmic. As soon as you let this identity go, then the karmic disappears because the old you is tethered to the karmic. So the next Saturn cycle begins from your truth, not your trauma. And this is the new Saturn cycle. Okay. So let's go to the Fractal Tarot reading, and we'll look at this here. This is interesting. So the wound, let's look at the wound here. The wound is 2 of Cups reversed with the Tower. With the Tower. So what does this say about the fractal? Is I thought it was love, right? I thought it was safe. Then everything shattered. Everything shattered. So the 2 of Cups reversed says that love that felt mutual, it was actually imbalanced, conditional or codependent. And the Tower is a violent collapse of an illusion. So it can be an internal collapse, right? Or something on the external. So this is sudden realizations of betrayal or abandonment or emotional abandonment, just like childhood. This was an echo of your childhood here. So this is the trauma bond collapse. Your trauma bond with your karmic is collapsed. So the inner child loved deeply, and it ended in shock and fragmentation. So how can you trust love now? It always ends in devastation. This is the question you're asking yourself. How can I trust it? It always ends this way, in devastation. And then the pattern is the Page of Pentacles. And this is the good girl, right? The good girl, the good student archetype. I'll be patient. I'll work on myself. I'll heal myself. I'll prove that I'm worthy of love. I'll stay and I'll wait until he finally loves me back, right? And it's a slow burn loyalty. This is false loyalty. This is the old cross of planning, right? Transactional relationships. This is burning. So it's rooted in trying to earn emotional safety. You're looking for emotional safety and security. So this is delaying your own healing by trying to fix it and figure it out, trying to learn, or trying to play a role, right? Play a role to get love, So this is the pattern. And then the mirror is the Ten of Swords. And this is you're re-experiencing the original betrayal, right? The original betrayal. So this is the energetic crucifixion. It's total depletion. It's abandonment. It's emotional death. So this is not just a breakup. It's a reminder of your first wound of rejection, right? And abandonment and betrayal. So it goes back to your childhood. So the karmic partner does not betray you because they're malicious. They're mirroring the energetic frequency that you've never been allowed to grieve, right? So you weren't allowed to grieve this as a little girl. With the father wound, the father abandoning. There's no room for that grief, right? Maybe your mother took up way too much space and your siblings took up way too much space. You had to take care of them and you were tossed into this role, right? You never had time to grieve. And now the Ten of Swords is like, now is your time to grieve. Finally grieve this wound and let it go. So this is how love felt at the beginning, right? At the very beginning in your childhood, it felt painful, you felt invisible, and it felt fatal to love, to like really open up your heart to love. And then the leap is the Four of Pentacles reversed. And this is the key to your liberation, Divine Feminines. And this is the let go of control. Let go of protecting your vulnerability. Let go of needing right? Needing someone in your life to come and rescue you, right? So that you can feel safe. And this card says that your safety never came from the person, never came from a person. It comes from your own heart. That's your true safety. It's to be embodied in your body. So this is the leap of trust into emotional, energetic openness after lifetimes of clenching. This is lifetimes and lifetimes of clenching and holding back, trying to protect your heart. And then the liberation, look at this. Ace of Cups and Two of Pentacles reversed. So this is the new heart. Aces are new, right? New cycle, Saturn and Aries. New heart, the return of self-love, the divine pulse is I'm enough, right? I'm enough as I am. I don't need to make up for anything. That's where makeup comes from. I need to make up. I need to compensate, right? I'm not enough. This is no, I'm enough. And the Two of Pentacles reverse says that you don't need to juggle anymore. You don't need to hold it all, right? Hold it all for others. You can stop playing a role, right? For stability. You want to let yourself fall and be held, right? Held by the divine, by others who truly love you. So liberation is feeling again. You're going to start feeling again. The heart's opening, right? This is trusting again. And this is letting real divine love begin, right? Within you. It starts with you first. You got to fill up your own cup first. So you thought it was love, but it was survival. You thought this karmic love was love, but it was survival. It was trauma bonding. You stayed, you waited, right? Waited for him to finally see you and love him. You waited for your father. You waited for the divine, right? And now you're seeing that the pain was never the price of love. It was the price of forgetting yourself. That was the pain, abandoning yourself. So you want to let it go. You want to let it all drop, right? And the love that's meant for you will make you fulfilled, right? For decades and decades. It will rise in you like a cup overflowing. And that's the other thing with the fractal. You're conflating struggle and pain with love, right? That comes from your past life as a Cathar. And you've got to let that go. That's not love. It's trauma bonding. And when you're ready, love will meet you again where you've already belonged, but it starts with you with the Ace of Cups. Okay. And then let's go to Twin Flames. And you know, I love to read these. I love to read the false twin, the karmic twin, and then the real twin. Okay, so let's do the false twin first, your karmic. And so this is the wound, and you've got the King of Wands reversed with the Two of Wands upright. So this is you're drawn to someone who appears bold, right? He's really bold, he's visionary, but in truth, he's non-committal, he's controlling, and he's emotionally unavailable. So the wound is, I wait for someone to come to me, right? Because I still believe I'm not enough on my own. So I wait for him to come to me. So this is the father wound reactivated. These two cards right here. So you confuse withholding with wisdom, right? He's withholding. Oh, he's silent. He's just wise. He's not sharing. And absence with depth, right? And that's not true. So let's look at the pattern. He's not committed to you, and he's not available for you. That's what it is. So don't be making up any more stories, right? In your head about it. That's the fantasy, the delusion you're letting go of. And then you've got the pattern, which is the Four of Wands reversed with the Seven of Wands. So this connection is not a home. It's not a home. It's actually a battleground, right? With pretty curtains and nice furniture. It's a battleground. That's your home right now. So you fight to maintain peace, right? You convince yourself, if I stay long enough, right? If I hold the energy, it will turn into a union, right? It's like effort, 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 but it's a huge battle for you, right? But the nervous system, your nervous system and your body know better, Divine Feminine. Listen to your body and your nervous system and how you feel, right? This is a battleground. It's a war zone, right? That's your body will tell you this is not a home. A home means that you relax in it, in that environment, right? So this is a loop that you're in. It's a loop. It's not a spiritual foundation. It's a loop that you're in. There's no home and there's no hope for union here with the false twin. Remember, their purpose is different in your life. And then you've got the mirror here, and you've got the 2 of Wands and the 10 of Wands reversed. So this is the false twin mirrors. You're over-functioning and over-giving, right? The 10 of Wands, like the workaholism. And then the hopeful, one day. One day, when, right? It will be beautiful. This is the hoping. This is the hopium. Right? These 2 cards here. So you carry the emotional burden of your relationship and the spiritual weight for 2. You stay because at least I know what this is, right? It's scarcity. At least I know what this is. I don't trust what's here with this other timeline, right? That I've been receiving all these downloads about through my intuition, through visions. I don't trust this, but better the devil I know, right, than the devil I don't. Like that old saying, right? At least I know this. So this reflects the version of you that believes struggle. So there's so much struggle in these cards that struggle equals, right, love. And this has to go, especially with the fractal, the Phoenix fractal. It doesn't equal. You're right. I had to struggle for it, so now it means it has value. I have to fight for it, so it means it has value. And this is a version of you, right? This is your not self that was created when you were a little girl to deal with not being loved by her father. Okay. And then the leap is the High Priestess and the Ace of Wands. So this is the leap into quiet knowing and sacred self-trust. This is going deep within, right? And so the karmic does not reflect your soul. You've been projecting your light into his shadows, right? He doesn't reflect your soul. The Ace of Wands says, ignite your own fire, light up your own fire, and leave without burning the bridge. Right? Look, her eyes are closed in both of these, right? It's very internal. You're not lobbing bombs. You're just leaving. You walk forward because you're ready, not because the karmic gave you permission to go. It's like, no, you're walking forward. You're choosing yourself first. And this breaks the contract, right? The Saturn in the 29th degree, or Saturn in Pisces contract. And then the liberation is the 2 of Pentacles and the Queen of Cups upright. And this is when you leave, you stop juggling. You stop juggling. The stress goes, right? The return to your emotional truth, Queen of Cups. And your intuitive power. Queen of Cups is very intuitive too. And the Queen of Cups reminds you, the one who truly sees you will never make you beg. The one who truly sees you will never make you beg, will never make you prove yourself, right? False love ends in exhaustion, and true love begins in your reclamation, reclaiming yourself, your original self, right? Here. Okay, so now let's flip it for the true twin. So the wound here is King of Wands, reversed again, 2 of Wands. So in the past, the King of Wands reversed disguised him as your twin. But the true twin, right, the true twin reflects your inner divine masculine healed. Right? So remember, that's also part of the twin flame journey, is balancing your own divine feminine and your own divine masculine, no matter what gender, right? So your true twin reflects your divine masculine healed. He's not pretending he's healed, right? He's not controlling. He's grounded. He's present. He's a visionary and he's available, right? Your true twin. And then the Two of Wands now in this position becomes a shared path, right? Not a solo longing. I'm longing for that false twin to rise. It's like, no, the path is you walk side by side. You're no longer waiting, you're preparing, right? You're preparing to walk together here. So the pattern here is Four of Wands reversed, Seven of Wands. With the true twin, the pattern of over-defending your vulnerable parts is dismantled, right? You no longer need to prove your worth here. And the Four of Wands upright is possible because your nervous system is safe. The old habit was I need to stay on guard and be vigilant. The new pattern is I can let my guard down, right? In the right relationship, I can let my guard down. I feel safe. My body feels safe. And then the mirror is the Ten of Wands reversed with the Two of Wands. So your true twin doesn't let you carry it all, right? Your false twin, you carry everything. The true twin, no. They don't let you carry it all. They see the burden that you're carrying and they help you lay it down. They mirror your readiness to release the old and the courage to move into the new, and knowing that the sacred path is shared, right? Is shared, not carried. So together you say, I don't have to do this alone anymore. I don't have to do this journey, the spiritual journey alone anymore. And that's the thing with your false twin. You can feel very, very alone, like misunderstood, not noticed, neglected, right? And then the leap is the High Priestess and the Ace of Wands. So this is your true twin is ignited through frequency, through your frequency. They're ignited. That's how you ignite one another, right? It's your frequency, not a fantasy, not a mental fantasy. So this is sacred sexuality for sure. Ace of Wands is one of the most sexual cards, but it's rooted in energetic recognition of one another. It's intuitive knowing, and it's your fire, right? So that's the Kundalini energy that starts to release, and the true twin activates that in one another. And of course it hits the second chakra, and that's the sexual, right? The sexual energy gets ignited. The creative energy gets ignited. So you don't need to chase, right? This is saying you don't need to chase. You don't need to like prove, right, yourself that you just know it's a twin flame connection. That's what I'm trying to say. So your divine masculine knows, yes, this is a twin flame connection, and you, divine feminine, is like, yes, I know what this is. It's a twin flame connection. It's a sacred connection. It's been orchestrated by the divine, right? So the body is saying yes, right? Your body is saying yes here. The body remembers, and the soul confirms it, right? But in the High Priestess opens, and then the Ace of Wands responds with that Kundalini energy, right? Rising up through the chakras. So then that's the leap you have to make. And then the Two of Pentacles and Queen of Cups here is liberation. So the Queen of Cups becomes you, divine feminine. It's you. So you're sovereign, you're soft, you're feminine. You no longer need to go back and forth with self-betrayal and then abandoning yourself and overgiving. You choose balance, not survival. You get out of this survival mindset from that was passed down from your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother. And the true twin here says, I will hold you in your fullness, your wholeness. I will hold you in your tears, in your desire, your chaos, your knowing, your shadow, everything. It's all welcome here. Your whole self is welcome here. So if we look at the false twin taught you who you're not. Your false twin taught you who you are not. And the true twin invites you to who you really are. So one kept you juggling, always on edge, and the other one, the true twin, helps you to rest, to finally put down those 2 of Pentacles and the 10 of Wands and just rest in your body. One demanded that you earn love, that's the false twin, and the other true twin sees that love within you already, right? Okay. So you may be saying, I can hear people saying, okay, I know this. Maybe they're saying, yes, I know this. I know that this is a karmic and I need to leave. But there's so many obstacles. And I get that. There's a lot of complexity in the external world, the material world to deal with and negotiate. It's not so easy to just get up and leave. I totally understand that. So first step, I want to say to you, Divine Feminines, if you find yourself in this position, like I know that I'm in this karmic loop, right? I know that, I'm aware of it, but I don't see where I can go next, right? I'm not seeing. Well, the first step is for you not to be jumping into any, leaping into anything, like I'm going and I'm just going out the door. The first step for you is to be in your body, right? So you want to be fully embodied first, and then you claim it, right? You claim it. And what are you claiming? You're claiming your power. And your power is like, no, I don't want this anymore. I know who I am, and this karmic does not match who I am. And where I'm going, it matches my old self, my wounded inner child. This karmic loop that keeps me small, that keeps me silent, that keeps me neglected and unnoticed and all of that. It's like you claim it. You just claim it. So you step into your power and you claim it. And as soon as you're in that power, right, you're in that frequency of you, like your authentic self, and you're not letting any self-doubt get in, you're just fully in your power, then that energy starts to ripple through your field. So we're all connected to a field of energy, right? So before you were doing like diminished and like the frequency you were sending out was not self. And of course you're going to attract not self experiences back to you to reinforce that. As soon as you're your authentic self, then this is when synchronicities start to happen. This is when opportunities come to you. You've got a friend that says, I'm going on vacation and I would love if you could house sit for a month, right? Or something like that. That's when you take the opportunity. So you don't get into passivity. That's the Saturn in Pisces. You get into Aries energy, which is the conveyor belt. You've got to reach out and take the opportunity. You've got to take action, right? Where's your soul leading to you? You take action. It's like, yes, I'm going to take that opportunity. Yes, I will house sit. Right? And then it's step by step by step. And then there's another opportunity. But the first step is I got myself into this. I can get myself out of it. Right? But it's claiming your power first. You don't need to figure things out. Your power is not in the mind and strategy. It's not in calculation. It's not there. It's in your body. You get in your body first. And then you start with frequency. Right? So just start there. Okay. So let's go to the projectors here. And what's the projector saying? The projector got 3 cards. So the Page of Cups reversed, 7 of Swords, and the Queen of Wands reversed. So this is your inner child, the Page of Cups reversed. So this is your sensitivity, right? As a projector, projectors are very sensitive as children, right? That was ignored or dismissed or made fun of. So this is deep emotional needs, projectors. that were never met or mirrored. You were a misunderstood child here. So you fear your vulnerability, being sensitive, right? The fear is that it's going to lead to rejection if I show my vulnerability. So you're designed to be invited, right? But this card is a history of playing a role for scraps of recognition. Trying to stay lovable by not being too much, not being too needy, not expressing, right? Not expressing your needs, things like that. And the message is you don't have to hide your softness and your vulnerability. It's a doorway into your true power. And then this is the Seven of Swords here. So this is an energetic survival. So this is wearing a mask. It's avoiding confrontation, hiding your brilliance behind trying to be humble, and humility. And humility in this sense of the word is still ego. It's an inverse version of the ego. Right? So this is distrusting the invitation when it does finally come. Projectors learn if I speak the truth, I'll be punished. If I shine too bright, I'll be cast out. Right? So this is you don't need to steal your place anymore. Right? You're the lighthouse. Right? You're the lighthouse. You're not this thief in the night. You're the lighthouse. You don't have to prove. Right? You don't have to be all chameleon-like. Faking, right? Faking by hiding yourself, basically. And then the Anchor card is the Queen of Wands reversed. And this is your distorted feminine magnetism. You want to be seen, but you're afraid of being judged, right? Of being attacked, of being envied. So this is past life wounds around your mystical power, right? The Queen of Wands is very powerful. So there's fear of jealousy or energetic backlash and retreating from the stage because love was conditional. So the message here is your fire is not too much, your beauty is not a threat, projectors, and your truth is not dangerous. But hiding it now is dangerous. No more hiding for the projectors. So you're here to speak your brilliance into the room. So you were born to stand still and let the world remember its light, right? In your gaze, you have a powerful gaze. Laser beam eyes, right? So no playing this fakery anymore. This is an old self. It's got to go. Okay. Okay, so let's go for the MGs. And some powerful cards for the MGs. Wheel of Fortune, Major Arcana. Big energy here. So what's the universe saying to you here, MGs? It's saying that you've completed a karmic loop. A cycle is done. The page is ready to turn. But many of you don't trust the quiet. There's quiet here, right? I don't trust it. They feel the void between cycles as a failure, This is what I talked about at the beginning of the video, right? It's like the door is closed. You've been thrown out in the hallway. You can't get back into that door, but then a new door hasn't opened yet. You're still in the hallway. This is the quiet. This is the in-between space here, right? But the wheel is turned. So it's not the void. Nothing's going on. It's not failure. So this is saying to stop initiating because you fear the stillness in the quiet. Don't be initiating from that place, right? You don't need another thing to do, MG. Not another person to save. You need to just let the wheel turn. Let fate shift you. Let the energy shift you. So this is the soul saying no more. No more being busy for busy's sake. Don't be afraid of the stillness and the quiet, right? It's like this is welcome reprieve. This is a gift to you, MGs. Then you got the Ten of Swords. Is the karmic contract is already over. It's already been ripped up in the spiritual realm, right? But here you're energetically replaying it. right? So this is not just about betrayal of others. It's your own betrayal through overcommitment. Overcommitment, it's over. It's over and you're clinging, right? It's time to let go. So if you keep moving, this is saying too, if I keep moving, if I stay busy, maybe that pain will stay behind me. But it doesn't until you lay it down. So it's time to feel. Feel. This karmic contract is over. So feel the emotions that come with that, right? And it just means sitting still. I'm just going to sit still. I'm going to have a nice hot bath with Epsom salts, some candles, and I'm just going to allow myself to grieve, right? And that's how you let go, fully let go. And then you got the Anchor, which is the Chariot reversed. And this is the warning card. This is a warning card, MG. And the warning is that you can't force movement when the soul is integrating. Your soul is in a deep rest right now. MGs, your soul's in a deep rest right now, integrating, right? And you're trying to move with the will of your ego. And this is a warning, right? So reverse Chariot, this is burnout, right? This is misalignment. This is running on the ego when the spirit has already, your intuition has already said to pause, to rest, right? So this card is like saying, slow down, stop, or your body will do it for you, right? So this is having a breakdown in the body, like an illness or getting into an accident, something like that. And that's when the divine intervenes, and it's all about you stopping. So stop now before attracting that into your life, right? So this is, you're not meant to initiate from mental strategy. This is the not self. Don't listen to your mind, right? Especially if you have what I talked about at the beginning of the video, that you see love as being useful. I'm useful for someone else, right? I do these things for love, right? This is your old not self. Then when you have to stop, all that's going to come up. The not self will come up. You know, who am I if I'm not doing for others? And this is your not self dying, basically. It has to die, but that will come up, and you just say, no, I'm just going to pause and I'm going to feel this, right? Because there's a lot of grief that I had to be someone else in order to be loved. I couldn't just be myself. Okay, so then you got the King of Pentacles reversed underneath here. So this is the wounded masculine, right? And so it's your wounded inner masculine. We can look at it like that. This is obsessed with outcomes and goals, productivity, controlling, impatient, perfectionist, rooted in self-worth and productivity, right? And the King here says, if I stop producing, if I stop doing for others, if I'm not productive, if I don't have a bunch of stuff ticked off of my to-do list, then I stop. I no longer exist. I don't exist. So the message here is you're not a machine, right? You're the divine feminine. You're not a machine. And resting is part of your magnetism, right? So this weekend is calling you to rest, right? And this will increase your magnetism. And that's how you want to bring things into the world, right? Is through your attraction. So the karmic cycle's over, but you can't step into the new world dragging your corpse with you, right? With your not self corpse with you. You can't drag in the Ten of Swords with you into this new world, this new timeline. So you want to let yourself rest in the void. In the invitation, the next step is coming, right? When Saturn goes into Aries. Okay. And let's go for the manifestors. And we've got the Knight of Swords for the manifestor, Seven of Cups reversed. So this is more. Move, right? This is do. So this is I'm ready to speak, to cut through, and to go. I'm ready to go. Jump on that motorcycle and go. So without your clarity as a manifester, this is expressed as reactivity, burnout through over-assertion, shattering connection while chasing control, right? Looking for control. So this says initiate, yes, but only from when you're grounded. Don't, with the Knight of Swords, it's like acts fast. He's impulsive, right? He's impulsive. He's coming from his mind. It's a sword. You want to be grounded before you initiate. That's what this is saying, right? So you want to be grounded in your center, not grounded in adrenaline and stress, right? And then the Seven of Cups, this is a clearing of your fantasies, your illusions, and your mental noise. So the fog's lifting for the manifestors, but only if you slow down, right? If you slow down so that you can discern. So this is also the confusion, right? What will they think if I initiate? Is this the right move? What if I get rejected again? Right? And this is saying my options don't matter. The truth is in my body. It's in my body, right? So I want to strip back what's real. And don't initiate from confusion. Wait until the fog lifts, right? So wait until you have clarity before you initiate. So another resting card, a message of resting. And then the generators. 2 big cards for the generators here. Okay, so this is the call, Justice, Major Arcana, again, Justice, the Moon. So this is your deconditioning from decades or lifetimes of overgiving, saying yes to keep the peace, right? When your sacral saying no. Working in roles and relationships that drain you, and Justice says it's time to rebalance the contract. And the contract is between you and your energy, your life force energy, you and your integrity. So this is about your liberation, Justice, here. So every time you override your sacral truth to please others, you step out of alignment with your soul's path. In the right? So justice is coming. This also rules contracts. So contracts are ending, right, with Saturn in the 29th degree. Pisces. And then you've got the moon, and this is the emotional fog that's been confusing your sacral, like the doubt, the guilt, the gaslighting, right? I don't know what I want anymore. I'm confused. But the moon is also deeper. If you go deeper into your intuition, is once you stop trying to think your way out of the fog, like using your mind, right? Then your intuition can surface. So the message is your truth isn't on the surface. It's not on the surface of things. It's in your body. It's in your dreams, in your tiredness, in your rage. It's in your longing. So this card says stop looking for logical clarity. This is not about logic. And let yourself feel what's true for you. Let yourself feel, generators. So you're not confused. You're suppressing the truth your body already knows. And let justice restore the sacred yes, and then your holy no. And let the moon show you the feeling behind the story. Okay, so that's this weekend for you, generators. And then the reflectors, 5 of Swords reversed, and the Hangman here. So you're a mirror. Reflectors are a mirror, right? But when you're unprotected, they absorb ego, the ego war, right? 5 of Swords, of everyone around them. So this card is conflict that they never wanted to be in. You caught yourself in conflict that you're not supposed to be in. This is energetic entanglements from trying to keep the peace. Being caught in triangulation or projection or emotional sharpening. So the pain you're holding might not be yours, reflector. You can walk away without having the last word, right? You don't have to fix the field. You just have to clear your own field. This has been a big message for the reflectors. The last couple of readings is like taking on what's not yours. The Hangman, this is your true medicine. So this is about surrender, perspective, it's lunar rhythm, it's non-attachment, but in delay, in the shadow version, this is staying too long in the wrong frequency. Reflectors often stay in environments long after they've turned toxic. They're trying to wait it out, even if their body is screaming no. So your stillness is sacred as long as you're choosing it, not when you're trapped in it, but when you're choosing it. Right? So you're not here to suffer for enlightenment. You're here to reflect truth and not carry poison. Right? Okay. Okay, so that's what I have for you. And please comment. There's all these views, and I forget how many comments. I love reading the comments, and other people like reading them too. And if you're a high priestess in hiding, write something. This will get you out of the loop, the karmic loop, the vow of silence that you took, the fear of persecution. It's very safe on my channel to write something, right? And so like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you on Tuesday, and enjoy this relaxing weekend. Okay, Satnam Aloha, everybody.